Black Swan, The 12 Lessons of Abandonment Recovery by Susan Anderson. Lesson 4. One evening after an early summer rain, the little girl ventures out of her usual corner in the kitchen to follow the children out of the yard. There, standing alone in the damp grass, she opens her eyes to the lightning bugs for the first time. They are flickering in the dark. At a distance, she watches the other children catching them. She wishes she could cup one of the fireflies in her hands and study its magic, as the other children are doing. But her arms remain hanging at her sides. That night, as usual, she is lifted from her rags in the corner of the pantry and put back in bed in the dormitory. "No," she cries as the blankets are placed around her. "It will be okay," comes the reassuring voice of the house mother. "You must try to stay. Try it for a while." This time, the little girl does not attempt her usual retreat to the rag pile. Instead, she remains in her bed, thinking about the lightning bugs and wondering why they must die so quickly. They are of the moment. She thinks of the swan and opens her eyes wide to bring in what there is to see. She studies the shadows forming against the windows outside. Then, she strains her ears to bring in what she can hear. To her wonder, she deciphers the low murmurings of the night people creeping about downstairs in the kitchen. As her mind wanders into the sensations of life abounding in the night, she falls off to sleep in her very own bed. Each new morning, she wakes up in her bed. Yet, each early morning, sunlight brings an uneasy feeling in her stomach that does not want to go away. She practices finding the moment to help her get through. Using her ears and eyes and nose and skin, she begins to notice many new things here and there. One day, for instance, she notices flowers that seem to have popped up in the yard overnight. She likes their name, snapdragons. Another day, she spies a familiar bird. It seems to have come to her from the past. It is bright red and lands on a branch right outside her window. It's so red, so sudden, so beautiful, it startles her, causing her heart to pound. One night, she listens to the bomb blast of a big thunderstorm rattling through the old stone house. She observes the other children in their fright and amazement and feels her own excitement mingle in. Another day, she notices the lush green carpet of lawn that seems to have wrapped itself around the old stone house while she wasn't even noticing. It seems to have brought gentle temperatures. But between these moments, she is waiting and worrying and trying to push out the bad feelings that come. She waits for that special day when she gets to see the black swan again. While she waits, she practices all that she is learning to find her center, push away bad feelings, and find the moment. She has waited a long time, all the way until the gentle temperatures have turned into hot weather to see her beloved swan. When at last she sees him, she can't hold back any longer. "I have nobody who loves me," she cries. The woman, as usual, is by her side. "You are facing your separateness, Amanda," comes his comforting voice. "And that is good." "But I don't want to be separate," cries the little girl. "I want my mommy and daddy to come back to me." "You can still love them and want them if you choose. But they are not here with you now. You are here now. You and I." "But I need them," cries the little girl from her heart, the woman's gentle arm encircling her. "And I always will." Need is a feeling, Amanda. In truth, we don't need any one person to survive. The world is full of people when we need them. They are called others. "But I only want my mommy and daddy," whimpers your little girl. "I want them to come and take me. If only you could understand." The swan pulls back into the water and opens his wings. "I, too, have longed for someone's return, Amanda. I, too, have known a wounder." The little girl opens her eyes to see her beautiful swan arch his long neck. "Tell me," begs the little girl. The swan moves gracefully to the shoreline, swooping his head down, coming in close to the little girl. "Like you, I didn't think I could live without her," he continues in a soft voice. "I yearned for her to comfort me from the very wound she inflicted. But she could never be the one to comfort me. The wounder never can. Only finding the moment can do that." "Who is your wounder?" asked the little girl. "Swan's mate for life, Amanda." you will notice I am alone. But I have survived the wounding, and so must you." "Tell me more about her," begs the little girl, nestling into the woman's arm shoulder. "She, like all wounders, became powerful just by wounding. She brought me to a feeling of insignificance and to pain. All I could do was marvel at her power to accomplish so mighty a task. I was reduced to helplessness, while she seemed to become more powerful, more valuable, and more beautiful for having vanquished me. I could only worship my wounder," admits the Swan. He turns gracefully toward the little girl. "But the pain this caused helped me find my will to survive, and survive separately." "How did you ever do that?" asks the little girl. "To survive, I learned to breathe life into my separate self," says the Swan, "just as you must do." "But I will always love my mommy and my daddy," sighs the little girl. "You don't have to stop loving them or think unkindly of them to find your comfort. But you must learn to accept your separateness." "I can't. It's too hard." "You're already beginning, Amanda. I will show you how to make it easier," offers the Swan. "It just means using your imagination. Are you ready?" The little girl nestles into the crook of the woman's arm and looks at the Swan swooping his long neck into the water. "Close your eyes and imagine your safe space within." The little girl complies, feeling the breeze against her face. "Imagine that your father is over there on the harbor front, Amanda," says the Swan. But he has turned away. "Daddy!" cries the little girl in her heart. "Pretend to get as far away from the wounder as you can. Go away, further and further out beyond the shoreline. Keep going until you can't see him anymore, until you are alone within the sea grasses. Imagine yourself feeling safe inside and completely separate. Exaggerate your separateness. Keep going, using your most confident stride to get further out to the open beach, to the furthest place you can see. Keep going and find a place where the sun sparkles most brightly in the sand, far away from everyone. Feel the peace and calm of being completely alone. All the way out there, feel your aloneness. Get inside the center of your aloneness," says the Swan. He pauses to allow some silence to grow. The little girl closes her eyes as she floats far away onto the sun-drenched beach. "Are you alone, Amanda?" asks the Swan after a while. "Yes," she says softly. "That is good. Now use your tools to find the moment. Bring in the warmth of the sun as it bears down upon you. Imagine experiencing it just for yourself." The little girl's face is relaxed as she basks in the sun. Can you imagine a cool wind blowing across the shore, bringing relief from the brilliant sun? Can you feel the sense of yourself from within, your stomach and heart alive with activity? Can you feel your power to bring in so much life through your senses just for your own sake? The little girl breathes deeply and turns her face upward. "Yes, lift your face, Amanda. Give yourself to it. It is your separateness. You are celebrating it. Lift your face to the breezes of life around you. Open yourself to your wholeness. You do not need the wounder now." "Daddy," whimpers the little girl, but she remains basking in the calm. "The wounder is far away, separate from you. He is back on the harbor front, Amanda. You never have to give him your power. Any time you feel the pull against your power, use your imagination and go out to the furthest place you can imagine. Get as far away as you can and exaggerate your separateness. Go all the way out, away from everybody, where nature's most welcoming elements can be felt most intensely, and imagine experiencing them alone, all for yourself. Know that you are whole, all by yourself." The little girl begins to open her eyes as she hears the Swan's motion in the water. "Separate, Amanda," says the Swan, making his turns, so that you can become available to the love that is all around you. I will always be here when you need me.